those two huge zucchini replicante that I harvested this fall? Well, I peeled them and cored them and grated them, and now I have this huge bowl of grated zucchini replicante, and I am gonna make some amazing bread out of these. Good afternoon, I'm Christina with Christy Lynn Outside, coming to you from inside because it's winter, and even though I have a fall winter garden growing, I am making use of some of the things that I have harvested this summer and this fall. So today I'm making two different bread recipes that I have been wanting to make for quite some time now, using the zucchini rampicante that I harvested this fall. So let's get started. The first recipe I'm gonna make is spiced carrot zucchini bread. I got this recipe from the Pampered Chef back when I was selling Pampered Chef many years ago. And I've saved it, and I don't believe I ever made it, but I always wanted to try to make it, and since I have plenty of zucchini, right here, a whole big bowl full of it, and I have some grated carrots. So I'm gonna make this one, and it's gonna be a little different from what the recipe says, because the recipe calls for, there it goes. The recipe calls for chopped carrots and chopped zucchini, but instead I'm just gonna use grated zucchini and carrots. So I'm gonna start with combining all of my dry ingredients. The recipe calls for 2 1/4 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, 1 cup of sugar, add a cup in here. One and a half teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and before this, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I sprayed the bottom of my loaf pan with some nonstick spray. So that was 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, ground cloves, ¾ teaspoon of baking soda, since Thanksgiving. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to mix this, just stir it all together. Nice if I have it plugged in here. Okay. Just going to stir it all together for a minute. Make sure it's all incorporated. And then I'm going to add my carrots and zucchini. 3/4 of a cup of each. While that's stirring, I'm going to add, it says 2/3 of vegetable oil. I don't have any vegetable oil, but I do have some unsalted butter that I'm going to melt, and I'll use that instead. So 1.5 of these sticks will cover that. You can use that on a 1-to-1 ratio. Melting, I'll measure out 1/2 cup of milk. And 2 lightly beaten eggs. For those of you that work with me in the hospital or work in any hospital, you'll notice some of these supplies I'm using come from some surgical supplies that were discarded. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this until it's all incorporated and all the dry ingredients are moistened. this and pour it into my loaf pan. This already smells amazing and it's not even cooked. All right, everything's ready. It's gonna go in the oven for 65 to 70 minutes or until a knife or a toothpick stuck in the middle comes out clean. And I'll bring you back to show you the finished product. This loaf is gonna be another Carrot-Zucchini loaf. Except the first one that I made, I omitted the walnuts because some of my family members don't like nuts. This one, I will add half a cup of chopped walnuts. So I have all my dry ingredients in here. I'm just mixing them up. Now I'm gonna add my wet ingredients. Half a cup of chopped walnuts. Stir that all up until it's mixed. In the pan it goes. And then in the oven. The oven is currently at 35 minutes left on the other loaf. So I'll put this one in with it and then I'll leave it in for an extra 30 minutes. The next loaf of bread I'm gonna make is zucchini pineapple bread. I've made this for many years since my children were small. They're now grown adults. I've always made them without the walnuts and without the raisins, mostly because I almost never had those on hand. Today I will use walnuts in one of my loaves, but I do not have any raisins on hand, so I'll skip that option. This recipe is for 2 loaves, so I'll end up having 2 loaves of each by the end of this, which is not going to be a problem because my kids have been dying to get some zucchini pineapple bread. So please excuse the squeaking noise. That is our dryer, and it is on its last leg. Boo is washing his clothes to get ready to go to the hunting camp, and I'm just trying to get this bread done so that I can bring it to the camp. So I may have to voice over for this part. We'll see. I'll see how annoying it is when I go to edit. everything was made, I still had 6 cups of grated zucchini left. So I divided it into 3-cup increments and put it in the freezer for future bread. Okay, here are my finished carrot zucchini bread loaves. First one has been cooling for about 30 minutes. Second one just came out of the oven and is gonna cool for a little bit. Then I will transfer it to my cooling rack. I don't have an official wire cooling rack, so I'm just cooling it on top of a broiling tray top, which works just fine, gets enough air circulation. Next, I'll be adding the pineapple zucchini bread loaves to the loaf pans and cooking them for about an hour at 350. And I'll show you those when they're finished as well. All right, everybody, here is the finished product. I have 3 loaves of bread with nuts, 3 loaves with no nuts, 4 of the zucchini pineapple, and 2 of the carrot zucchini. I wrapped them all up in foil, and I'm bringing some to the camp and gifting some to my daughters, and then taking some to work this weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first recipe video, so if you want some more, just let me know. Comment below and share. I will link the recipes. Well, actually, I'll just put the recipes down in the description below if you're interested. Everyone have a wonderful weekend and share your bounty with those you love.